Hi, this is Pirozok. I'm coming to you once again with short sound bites on the New Apostolic Reformation and the book I've written, Kingdom Come, a Biblical Response to Dominion Theology. In the last session, I was touching on the belief of the New Apostolic Reformation of the restoration of modern-day apostles and prophets. And amongst other charismatics, there is a belief in the function of modern-day apostles and modern-day prophets, but not in accordance to what the New Apostolic Reformation has been teaching. So I want to touch into this a bit today and bring out a name that would be familiar to some of us and some who are concerned about the false doctrines. And this is the founder, at least theologically, of the New Apostolic Reformation, and this is C. Peter Wagner. And C. Peter Wagner was a person who was originally a missionary into outside of the United States and committed to share his faith and this sort of thing that would be traditionally done of, say, modern-day apostles taking the message of the gospel, Jesus Christ and Him crucified, into other cultures and places where Christ has never been preached. And so in this way, I think this is a good thing. This would be kind of the classic definition of a modern apostle, which is a divinely appointed messenger who brings that good news of the person of Jesus Christ, the cross, the resurrection, and the second coming, and preaches that gospel into people groups and cultures where the gospel has not been formally preached. And so in this way, I think a modern-day apostle can be viewed this way, and some missionaries are actually functioning as modern-day apostles. Not every missionary or missionary organization can we say that of, but some are. And so C. Peter Wagner may have fit that definition. But as he evolved back into the ministry in the United States, he began to formulate theological beliefs which attached the function of an apostle with church government. And this was the formation of the New Apostolic Reformation. And basically, C. Peter Wagner believed that the church had failed its mission over the last 1,800 years by not converting the cities and nations of the earth and making them into Christian cities and nations of the earth and establishing the kingdom of heaven on earth through the church and advancing the kingdom all over the world and establishing Christian cultures and nations and cities before Jesus Christ can return. And of course, nowhere in Scripture do we see the church being the government of God on earth and winning the world to Jesus Christ before Jesus Christ can return. In fact, we see almost the opposite and warnings from Jesus that the church will be hated by all nations before the Lord returns. So this false kingdom message, this other gospel, began to be the gospel of the New Apostolic Reformation. And terminology was developed to advance that gospel using classic Christian words like apostle and prophet. But these words were altered and changed in meaning to adapt to the New Apostolic Reformation terminology. And many of these things now have become the false doctrine and even heresy inside of the movement that has not been challenged much by other charismatics, simply because signs and wonders are also promoted, prophecy is promoted, the gifts of the Spirit. And so by and large, this was ignored and challenged mainly by evangelical Christians who could see the faulty doctrines and how they were not centered in the authority of Scriptures and actually diminished the foundations of the faith. And so the alarm came mainly through other portions of the church first, but now I believe God is raising up people like myself who have been inside of these movements, who began to see the errors many years ago and are now sounding out an alarm. And it is becoming quite alarming and very deceptive. And so I'm just taking this opportunity to say, hey, this is what I have seen, along with many others, to sound the alarm and to give Christians an opportunity to discern the spirits and to measure this movement according to the authority of Scriptures.